And so this is just a sample of some of the organizations and different projects that myself and my students have been able to work on over the last several years. As part of doing Engaged Scholarship, I also wanted to bring in what our community was doing when it came to improving the health of our community members. And so we brought in these different reports and these documents, and then we reached out to different organizations to understand how we could supplement and help them with the work that they were doing. And so, over the last couple of years, this is really some of our exciting projects within our own KU community. We've developed, my class has developed programming to reduce food waste. The Purposeful Plates project is one of my babies, really. This is over 3 semesters I've had undergraduate and grad students work on to develop a food waste reduction toolkit and food recovery efforts as well, aimed at local restaurants, that's now expanding into community efforts as well. And then this semester, I'm really excited to engage my students with various stakeholders of Common Ground, the community garden program, to understand the successes and challenges of having of community gardens, and to developing a process for other communities to learn from us. I think, as our panel so eloquently stated this morning, the COVID-19 pandemic, this is a time where it's really important, even more so, to engage our students in the work that we're doing to improve the health of our community. We've seen a lot of gaps that need to be filled as far as access to quality health and food, and all of those other impacts on our health. And so now more than ever, I think our students who are living through this experience, they can understand that even more and help to engage in those efforts. And so I've seen where, instead of just having a sit and get classroom, where our students are really taking what they learn in the classroom and applying it to some of the work that we're doing throughout the community. It's also been beneficial for us too, because we've been exposed to so many other collaborations across campus. We've collaborated with the Department of Engineering and Urban Planning and Department of Economics. And it's also given my students experience out in the field and working, boots on the ground with residents of Douglas County and different organizations. A lot of my students have gone on to do internships and secured positions with a lot of these organizations. And then finally, I think it's especially important to say what this has done for myself. I originally implemented service learning and community engaged scholarship into my classroom as just part of that teaching arm. But what I've seen is the interconnections between research and service and teaching. And I think that is something that has certainly been talked about with our keynote speaker and the panel that we had this morning, that it has been a lot of work, but in the end, it's really sufficiently and efficiently interconnected those 3 arms that we're responsible for as academics. And it's made me a better researcher and a better professor, a better teacher overall with my students. So
one of the things that I love about community engaged scholarship is the way that it really forces us to look beyond kind of our silos, whether it's through a workplace or through the departments that we're assigned to in universities or whatever. And of course, many of our classrooms do this because we bring in students from all over the place, so they don't know what their majors are yet. But I think one of the exciting things about all of these projects and almost every single community engaged kind of research that I can think of is the way that it builds interdisciplinary relationships. And I think everybody who presented gave some examples, but I wondered if folks would be willing to kind of chat about a relationship that came up organically, that you would never have anticipated kind of initially. Susan, I know you've had a couple of these.
Before the pandemic started, I don't know about everybody else, but my mind is always pre-pandemic and now, currently what's going on. But before the pandemic, we had groups of students that were working on the Purposeful Plates project. And so that was the reduction of food waste, and then also promoting food recovery efforts for our local food bank and food pantry and food pantries. And so, we certainly had those community collaborations with Just Food and then the local restaurants. But then, this is where some of that interdisciplinary work also came into play, because we were also thinking, well, if we want food recovery efforts, we also want to make sure that that we're not adding to food waste by, putting this food into, plastic containers that just adds to the waste. That our goal is to reduce food waste. And so, we had some discussions and collaborations with some students and faculty over at the School of Engineering. And also as we move forward with the Purposeful Plates project, I've also been in collaboration with the Department of Economics as well, understanding the bottom line, that it's not just a health impact, but that economic impact as well. And so we're moving forward to expand upon the Purposeful Plates project to understand that health impact, but also that economic impact as well. And so, it's been great because not only have I broadened, my scope, I've gotten outside of my little hole here down in Robinson, but I've also been able to meet some great colleagues across campus that are also really passionate about this work and also doing great community engaged scholarship work. And so I've been able to, and my students as well have also been able to collaborate with some of these other students. And so you're seeing this interdisciplinary work not only among faculty members, but among the students as well. And I think that's what's been really gratifying and rewarding is to see how this is expanded.